Feathered Serpent and the Five Suns, a Mesoamerican Creation Myth by Duncan Tonatiuh. It is said by the elders that before our time there were 4 other Tonatiuhs, or suns. During the first Tonatiuh, the gods created humans by covering sacred bones with mud. The humans they made were big. They were giants, but they were clumsy. They would fall and break. These humans turned into mountains. During the second Tonatiuh, the gods made humans with mud again. This time, they made them small, but the mud would slip off their bones and slide into the rivers and lakes. These humans turned into fish. During the third Tonatiuh, the gods made humans by covering the sacred bones with corn paste instead of mud. The humans they made were the right size and shape, but they refused to honor the gods. The gods became angry and turned these humans into monkeys that lived in trees. During the fourth Tonatiuh, the gods created humans with corn paste again. This time, they gave the humans hearts. The humans they made were kind and honored the gods, but they were lazy. They did not want to hunt or grow food. They spent all day singing and playing. The gods turned these humans into birds. The gods were tired. They did not want to create humans anymore. They gave the sacred bones to Mictlanteculti, the lord of the underworld, to keep. But Quetzalcoatl, Feathered Serpent, the god of knowledge, did not want to give up. I will travel to Mictlan, to the underworld, to recover the bones. I will create humans one last time, he thought. He gathered his staff, his shield, his cloak, and his shell ornament for good luck and set off. The entrance to Mictlan was in a cavern past the sacred mountains. There were 9 regions. Feathered Serpent would have to cross in order to reach the place where the Lord of the Underworld dwelt. In the first region was Itzepetl. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not right. It's Quintry. What? That's not right either. Yeah, no, I think it's pronounced it's Quintry. And forgive me if I'm not pronouncing this right. So the first region was it's Quintry, the place where the dog lives. There, Feathered Serpent encountered Xolotl, a spirit guide who helped those who were worthy of his aid. The god had to cross a large, mighty river. How will I reach the other side, he thought. But Xolotl motioned for him to climb onto his back, and the dog carried Feathered Serpent, aka Quetzalcoatl, across the water. The second region was Tepeme Manamictlan, where mountains crashed into one another. How will I pass safely between them? Feathered Serpent wondered aloud. He placed his staff between 2 mountains. This held them back, and he and Xolotl passed through them without harm. He then reached Iztapetl, the Obsidian Mountains. Sharp volcanic glass shards cut anyone who tried to walk on them, but Feathered Serpent tied rocks to the bottom of his sandals. "This should protect me," he said to Xolotl. The god crossed the mountain without getting hurt. Then he came to Kehuloyan, the place where it snows. Everything was frozen. Feathered Serpent wrapped his tomatli tightly around himself. The cloak was made from a special fabric. Despite the snow and ice, Feathered Serpent stayed warm and walked to the other side. The fifth region was Panquetlacaloyan, a place where the wind blew so strong it swept back whoever tried to climb it. Once again, Feathered Serpent relied on his staff. He held it tightly to steady himself and move forward. The wind was so strong, though, that it snapped his staff and tore his tomatli. The god then reached Temimim Aloyan, the field where it rains arrows. Feathered Serpent held his chamali over his head. He was able to pass through unharmed, but his shield was broken in half by the sharp weapons. The next region was Teolokualoyan. It was a place where ferocious jaguars lived. We are going to eat your heart, they howled at Quetzalcoatl. "You want my heart? Here, you can have it," said the god. He dug his hand underneath his breastplate and then threw what was underneath it to the jaguars. The jaguars dashed for it. When they took a mighty bite, they broke their teeth. It was not his heart the god had thrown, but his shell ornament. Afterward, Feathered Serpent reached Apanuyaloyan, a place where the god had to cross a river again. Beneath the water dwelled a large reptile. Feathered Serpent and Xolotl had to be careful not to disturb it as they swam across. Feathered Serpent was now in the ninth region, Chikonayaloyan. It was the area with 9 bodies of water and a very dense fog. "I can't even see my hands," explained Feathered Serpent. "How will I ever find my way?" But the god closed his eyes. He became still and listened to Xolotl's breathing. The spirit dog knew the way, and the god followed him. The fog dissipated. That makes a huge difference, right? The fog dissipated. Feathered Serpent was finally in front of the god of the underworld. "I am here to take the sacred bones. I want to bring humans to life," he said. You have come from far away and you have overcome many challenges, Feathered Serpent. But before you take the bones, you must pass one final test, said Mictlantecuhtli. Take the shell and make music with it. That is easy, thought the god. All I have to do is blow. But when he took the shell from Mictlantecuhtli, he realized it was a trick. The shell did not have a hole to blow through. Feathered Serpent was not ready to give up, though, so he saw some worms on the ground. He picked them up and placed them on the shell. The worms dug a hole in it. Feathered Serpent took a deep breath and blew, and when he did, the instrument made powerful music. Mictlantecuhtli was reluctant, but he gave Feathered Serpent the sacred bones. The god of knowledge knew he could not trust the god of the underworld, so he asked Xolotl, the spirit dog, to distract Mictlantecuhtli while he escaped. Mictlantecuhtli soon realized that Feathered Serpent was getting away. "Stop him!" he yelled to the bats in his cave. The god ran and tried to shoo the creatures away, but while doing so, he failed to see a large hole in front of him. Thump! The god fell in. It was the end of Feathered Serpent and the sacred bones. Or so thought the Lord of the Underworld. When Feathered Serpent woke up, he was bleeding and terribly hurt. He collected the broken sacred bones. He climbed out of the hole and made the journey out of Mictlan. He then went to the place where the other gods dwelled. He smashed the bones into a powder and mixed some of his own blood with it. He asked the other gods to do the same. With the powder and the blood, Feathered Serpent made a paste, and with the paste, the gods made humans again. It is said by the elders that we are the descendants of those humans and that we are living in the fifth Tonatiuh. The end.